It's the Cronulla Sharks. Jez, can you run us through? You can go through both the gains and losses, then we'll have a chat because there's not too much going on here.
Yeah, this one was a lot better to put together. So the gains, we've got Billy Burns from the Dragons and Michael Gabriel from the Bulldogs. So they're the gains for the Sharks.
Burns. He's been everywhere, I feel like, in about 2 years.
He has. Yeah. Came from Dragons, and before that was Panthers, and then
I think so.
Somewhere else before that.
Cowboys or something. I don't know. South
Sydney, possibly. Yeah.
He's been he's everywhere.
Seen how many jerseys he can collect. And that's him pictured down the bottom. I didn't even know what he looked like. But there you go.
Seeing if he can get through a year without an injury, to be honest.
Yeah. The losses. So we've got Wade Graham, who has retired. Oh, man, you've put me on the spot here.
Wade Graham, who's signed for the Entrance Tigers, believe it or not. That's how retired he is.
I'm going to murder this. Tapahua. Was I close?
That's why he was released.
Yeah, we'll put it.
He was released because the coach couldn't get his name right at training. He couldn't name him every week.
You're out. See you later. Matt. My goodness. Ikevalu, thank you. The Lee Leopards. Matt Moylan, again, off to the Lee Leopards. See ya. Off to the Super League. Did you predict this, Adam? Did you predict he was off to the Super League?
Matt Moylan, definitely, yes.
Yeah. And then Connor Tracy, we've spoken about, he is found himself at the Bulldogs. So not too much movement. Definitely more losses than gains, obviously. But that's the Sharks. And that's how they've done their recruitment for 2024. A lot of re-signs down the bottom. So some good names down there that have on till at least 2025 and then off contract next year. You have a look. Billy Burns is only on a one-year contract. So it's pretty much see how you go and see if you stick around. But it's pretty much the Sharkies.
Braden Hamlin-Ueli interests me in that off-contract list. I think he might be one of the ones that a few clubs might try and go for. We will see. But, yeah, I'm a bit with you. There's not too much. I'm a bit off about the Sharks this year. There's just something that doesn't feel right about him. And it starts with this recruitment for mine because I think there needs to be a couple more in the gains and a couple more of those sort of reliable first grader type things, or just go all your eggs in one basket and go for one of those small superstars like they've done with the forward pack next year with Aiden Fanua-Blake obviously coming to the club. But from what I've heard, there is some money in the cap for the Sharks. So I'm surprised. There's obviously not much talent around at the moment, so they might be just trying to keep their powder a bit dry to see who comes up. But as you said as well, re-signing list is quite large, so they've obviously focused in-house a lot as well. So, I think it was Matt Moylan's time to move on. I just think last year he was a bit behind the pace of a first grade 5'8" and put a lot of pressure on Nico Hines. I think when Trindle did come into there late on, I think it freed up Hines a lot. Adam?
Yeah, Trindle's a 7, Hines is a 6. Hines has never been a 7. You know, that might be my opinion, even the year he won the Dally M. So they had to move Moylan on to get Trindle into the team. It doesn't matter what numbers they wear on their backs week in, week out. Trindle's going to play that controlling role of the team. It's just the natural player he is. And he's been a very underrated player for quite a number of years now. So, look, Moylan's time was due off to the Super League, as predicted. I'm against what you're saying. Like, obviously, they've got a few losses here, but a few that needed to go. I guess the only big loss there that's time wasn't up is Connor Tracy. As for what they've signed, they've just signed a bit of depth. They didn't really need to sign anything else because the problem they had last year was fitting them all in. Probably forgetting that Wade Graham spent a lot of the year out anyway. Connor Tracy spent a lot of the year in reserve grade. Ikevalu, Jeremy's mate, Tuku, don't even know who he is. So Matt Moylan was the only one really on that list that spent regular time in first
disrespect.
grade. Yeah, exactly right. And found himself out of the team at the end of the year anyway. So, look, I think Cronulla, they're in for another year where they've been touched on the dick anyway with the draw. So, it seems to happen every year to them. They seem to get that easiest run no matter what. So, be another good year for Cronulla of beating all the bottom 8 teams, making the finals and going out in the first week again.
So that hate mail that we've got coming in quickly from last week for Adam, just keep it coming and I'll just keep forwarding it off to Adam.
You can't lie with facts. You can't lie with facts. Though. They've done it for the last 2 years. But
they've got a pretty good draw. They've got a pretty good draw. But I like what Joel touched on with their re-signing. So they really have focused in-house. So, and again, as Adam touched on, they've gone just a little bit of depth. They didn't have to do much recruitment. They didn't have to do much signing, but it was the curse of trying to fit everybody in. So their reserve grade was had a couple of first graders going through it. So to be able to sign these guys on until like 2025, but you got Hines until 29, so there's most of your cap. But just to focus in-house and really run with the draw that they've got, I think the Sharks, they might make it to second week, Adam, of finals.
Second week.
Isn't it a concern though? They're staying in-house, and they've done that pretty much now since Fitzy's been there. So 2 years they've had basically the same sort of team, and both years have ended the same way. Isn't
Yeah,
it
but
sort of the
what else
time
is out there,
to
though?
mix it up a
In the
bit?
positions that they're after, what else is out there?
But the thing
I would have
is,
gone Avarillo. I would have gone hard for Avarillo. I think they need a
Yeah.
bit of strike in the
he
centre.
rates Talakai at centres, which I don't think anyone
I
else
don't.
does when it first started. But obviously he's made that decision there, and who's his other centre whose name has completely forgotten me, the one that left
Ramian.
Ramian.
Jesse Ramian.
Ramian's obviously one of the strongest centres in the competition when he actually sets his mind to it. But like I said earlier, I don't think they needed to, and it's good to see a team actually. You look at that list of what they've re-signed, and quite a few of them are actually juniors coming through as well. So it's good to see a team actually putting faith in their juniors and giving them runs.
What are you rating the recruitment, guys? Adam, you can go first. You're going well with the Sharkies. Let's just keep the hate going, I guess.
No, I'm actually giving them a 7 because they've moved on everyone that needed to be moved on. Like, a lot of clubs show a little bit too much loyalty to players and let them go out in their own terms. They've kind of, given Matt Moylan, who's been there for quite a while, a tap on the shoulder and said, off you go. Wade Graham, obviously that was his decision, but like I said, the players on that list weren't playing regular first grade, so it was time for him to go. And yeah, obviously, look, they could have brought in a gun centre, as you said, or a gun for whatever position they needed, but like, they're a team that, I'm going to use that word, but they have X factor in their backline. They are a bit exciting to watch. I think their backline, their 1, 2, 5, and 3 are probably some of the biggest flogs in rugby league. The way they act, their smugness, I'm not afraid to say that. Not fans of them, Alatalo, and Katoa and Will Kennedy, but they've got a bit of excitement about it. I thought Will Kennedy was one of the best fullbacks in the game last year until he picked up a few injuries. I know it's easy when you're playing the easiest draw and picking on bottom 8 teams, but he still had a bit of excitement about him.
Jez, I'll go. I got him a 6. I'm just sort of a bit meh with them.
Yeah, I had him a 6, and it's purely on the re-signings, focusing in-house, and as Adam said, just moving on a couple of people like Moylan and saying goodbye to Wade Graham. So giving him a 6.
A couple of positives for the Cronulla Sharks for 2024. I've got down here, we mentioned it a bit earlier, the Hines and Trindle combination, which I think will be a lot more steadying for this side this year, and much better balance. As Adam said, and I 100%, 150% agree with him. Hines should be the 6, Trindle should be the 7. Even name them in the jersey so that there's no silly buggers with that. And I guess the other positive, and you can look at it as a positive, that's stable squad mentality as well. So everyone knows how they play. They've all got their roles. Hopefully this is the year they all just level up and can do it when they need to in finals football.
Yep, and we're all just really excited to see what Billy Burns will do this year.
What injury, you mean? Well, what club he'll sign for next year?
You're on fire. Have you got any concerns for the Cronulla Sharks?
Yeah, Billy Burns. No, my biggest concern for the Sharks is that they draw again. Like I said, everyone always touches on it. They've got this easy draw, blah, blah, blah. You don't want it. Like, you want to be playing the harder team, especially at the back end of the year, and get yourself finals ready, because if you're getting away with teams and you get to the finals and get forced to have to turn up, they've shown in the last 2 years they're incapable of doing it. So the biggest concern for them is they need to find, I'll say, a bit of mental toughness in a way. They need to get themselves up for games every week, like they're playing a top team every week, because that's the way they need to approach the finals. And they will get to the finals given the draw they've got.
Yep. Jez?
Can't say much else than what you two have said. I think I'm excited to see what Nico Hines will do this year alongside Trindle. and they should definitely be wearing their respected numbers in the right spots. So, and I think Kennedy might be in for a really big year as well. It was exciting to see him do what he did at fullback. So,
Can I touch on that? As your marquee player, they want him in the 7 because it sells jerseys. I was at Peter Wynn Score on Sunday, and outside of Peter Wynn Score, they had the Cronulla Sharks 7 with Hines on the back of it because it sells jerseys. And it's what they've become used to now when they've signed him. So he won't change out of the 7. He'll wear the 7 no matter what he's doing, what part of the team he's controlling. It's kids.
I've got a couple more. I've got a couple more concerns that hasn't been mentioned. So I just want to go through. I feel like if Hines goes down, they have a severe lack of creativity when it comes to this football side. I look at it and it relies so much. I feel like this is the most. I don't know how the best way to word this. Probably the biggest side in the NRL that relies so much on one player would be the Cronulla Sharks. I feel like for 2024, if he goes down for touch wood, it does not happen for an extended amount of time. Even if it's an easy draw, I've got serious concerns over the Cronulla Sharks winning enough football games to get themselves into the finals. The last one would be, I feel like they've got too many one-dimensional forwards. I look at their pack and I feel like it's all the same player. And we've seen that last year. There's nothing really coming off the bench. If I was them, I'd be moving Talakai onto the bench and having him as an impact forward coming on after probably 20, 25 minutes when some players are a bit tired, and just creating a little bit of that X factor in a forwards role and go from that. And they've got a couple of young guns in Cade Dykes and Iro as well, that are waiting to get a start in the back line. They're really, really good players. And again, they'll bring that X factor to the back line. I just would like to see a little bit of change up here from the Cronulla Sharks when it comes to spicing up their attack a little bit. I just feel like it hasn't been where it should have been, especially the back half of last year.
Do you think that's the forwards being punched out of a cookie cutter, or do you think it's the coaching? Like, do you think that's their tactics of the way that they play?
Probably both. I feel like this group of forwards that we're talking about has played the same sort of way for a while.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, how all the forwards kind of bring the same sort of energy, and I also agree that Talakai needs to come off the bench because that's their impact around that slow ruck. But I also think it might be a little bit of the coaching side of things where they might not be allowed to go off script, if per se, in terms of the forwards.
Well, look, their locks are a prime example of that. You got Finucane or McInnes, and they're both pretty much similar players. They're going to work their asses off, but are they really going to become like we've seen like a Hopgood for the Eels last year and really help get that attacking order as well? I haven't really seen that since McInnes has gone to that lock role. And yeah,
I would love to just see Dale on the field because it's been ages since he's had a consistent run of footy.
McInnes was a dumb signing for them when they made it as well. They didn't need him.
But he made all those tackles that one time.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he has done. He's done nothing to attack for him, and like playing at lock when he's a hooker. Is
he the one that did the tackle when no one was near him and he just jumped?
I can't
Is that McInnes last year? I think it was.
Supercoach points.
I think it was.
The Bulldogs could have used him as a 14, I reckon.
What about our finishing position for the Sharkies? I'll go first. I'll go first this one. I've got him 5th to 8, purely off the easy draw. I initially had him in the next bracket down, but I remembered about how easy that draw is. But as I said, if they lose Nico for an extended run, I would be dropping them to at least the next level on the ladder.
Yeah, I've got him for the same reasons. I've got him in 5th to 8th, just because of the Sharks, and they always seem to just sneak into the 8.
Ditto. Nothing else to say. Same, 5th to 8.